Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Rudy. Made a couple things set up and then we will go over some of the trades. As of right now, we have a position in ELOX. Affirm was a trade from yesterday. ZIM is a new trade today. We've got two trims on the name. Getting rejected from that 1350, which is kind of where we were looking to trim. And RBLX, and I'm sure there's more. I could throw in the title, but those are the transactions we've been making. So Affirm, pretty nice move, and my one trim was around 72. So let's just go ahead and go take a piece off of Affirm up in front of 16s here. We've trimmed now about 40% of the position now from yesterday. And ZIM, yeah, I think this is a good consolidation. If it pulls down to like these wick tops at 1320s, I think that looks good for continuation. Best print, we actually started this position around 30s, 25s, 590s, and 80s. And our best print on the upside is 570. So we're looking for this to just hold 5 and maybe catch a bid to the upside. So before I go any further, you guys know I'm not a licensed financial advisor, simply just sharing my opinion, giving you guys some entertainment, and trying to make some money in the process. So moving forward, we went over ZIM. We had a small trim in roll blocks off the open. We were talking about this a few times, and we could probably go take a piece off. But we were talking about how it was holding this uptrend and it was building this flat top. So getting entries into this for a potential break of this flat top. And you can see the bigger picture is actually kind of where we're approaching. If we can get over top of this 43, I would say that Roblox looks pretty good. But we can probably go take a piece off of Roblox as well. We've only taken 10% off of the position. So let's go take another 10% and see if that can give us a breakout. ELOX, we do have a couple of reloads. We were on the bid at 05s, so let's go see if that filled or not. So since we didn't get the 05 fill, we do have a reload at 510. So my first reload came in at 510. I think we can go and just cancel that 505 order and see if we can start trimming this name to the upside again. If we can do that, then maybe we can think about playing that 5 level. So let's just go ahead and let's just cut that reload right now. Taking 20 cents, 22 cents off of that reload. If that wants to come back in the 5, that gives me a little bit of leeway. But if this wants to catch a bid, we're gonna keep running this to the upside. And we don't want this to wick down and end up coming back in and all the ways back down to 4. So we do want to be careful. I think the catalyst on this name for today is upgrades, analyst upgrades. I'm not sure. So whether that has much weight to it, the move or not, I would say gaps up on volume, getting close to that positive break. So we think that we can run this. And what I would say I like about it is this third point of contact. This is kind of how we're reacting. So if this is the flat top that we're trying to build right here, you guys can see it. We gap down, we reject it, we reject it, we reject it. Now, is this the early start for something that can run up to 9? If that's the case, we have a decent size on the position, and I can see it. Affirm already pulling back in, and the reason why we wanted to get a fill, is it filled this gap. If this wants to wick all the ways back in, we don't want it to set a close underneath of this gap right here. We want to see it take out some levels. So let's start with 16, and then 1650 is kind of meeting up with those lows right there and these tops. So those are going to be some key levels to try and trim the position down a little bit. But another thing that I like about Affirm is it dipped into this negative just briefly, and these wicks right here, This when it was starting to reclaim 14, you can see that's the high of the previous day. This is kind of the flat top that we were dealing with, and I can go show you guys what I was looking at. A nice aggressive move to try and retrace up to this gap, and then we just reject that level a few times. Well, this is the open of yesterday. You can see we take out that level and we retest. This is that 14 break that we were looking for. We actually had a couple prints to the upside, and we actually reloaded and then some. Just because it was showing this retest on decreasing volume right here, and we just said, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and take a chance on it. Not necessarily a chance, but hey, we can reload and see if we can get a move. We actually didn't sell any of this position. Uh, busy second half of the day for me, but now that we got the gap up and took out the highs, we respected the gap, we respected 75s, and we got a print up at 80s, in the 80s somewhere, and ELOX up to 45. So let's go ahead and take some profit on that name. Ring the register just a little bit more, and let's see if we were able to get anything notable on that print right there. We got 39 halves, and it looks like we're gonna get ready for a breakout right here. So let's just go start ringing the register uh, as it wants to continue to the upside. So. And that should have been 48s. There was 48s on the tape right there. And it was 49. So we got 49s on that. So we got 30s, 39 halves, and 49s right now. And if this wants to show me some continuation, this could easily break out. If it gets over top of these wicks, I don't think it's going to have much fight through that 6. So let's start with these 50s. If we can take out 50s, let's see if we can get some continuation to the upside here. So yeah, this would be a really big hit for me if we can take out 50s, and we did, and now we should be showing some support at 50s. You would think we would show some support. And let's just go take another piece off here at 60s. I mean, we have pretty good size on the position. Bid stacking up to 58, and that should have been 58s that we got there. So ringing the register on 58s. And I'm glad that we did. So now if we pull back in and we want to come back down into 5s, I think we can respect 5 and see if this just wants to trade sideways. That's if it gets rejected without breaking out. If we pull back in down to 5s and I want to just see it trade sideways and then give me a break, which that break is going to be a break of 6. If it puts some sort of green engulfing candle over these wicks, I want to see people flooding in for this breakout. One of my bigger disappointments for the week, I would say so far, is Etsy. We identified this gap and this sort of neckline right here, and I'm just gonna go to a daily and show you what I'm talking about. So one, you had the gap fill here around the 82.50, and then you filled that gap, you caught a bid up to the upper 90s, and then you left this gap on the way, and it retraced down to the T, and we set this short double bottom right here. And now catching a bid, we got a positive break. Man, I don't want to buy it here simply because I would rather play around with this breakout level over this neckline, because if this gets rejected, I'm okay waiting for this 85 if it comes in. But man, I really wish I pulled the trigger around these 82s. Those 82s really would have given me a nice return, and I would probably just continue trimming to the upside. Tell was one that we played around with this trend line many times. We don't have tell, but taking out these highs yesterday was a pretty good tell that it like that was a pretty good indicator that it was going to get some continuation. You hit the gap up, it doesn't have the weakness to pull back. I'm looking for more upside. And ELOX up to 60s again. Are we gonna, and we're at 70, so let's go take another piece off. As long as that wants to keep going to the upside, we're just gonna keep ringing the register. We have plenty of size to do so. So small cuts right now, and ELOX up to 80s. So let's go take another piece off. Still over 70% of the position. There's 86s. So taking a piece off right there. Small cuts right now. Small cuts. And it looks like we are going to get this breakout. Oh my goodness. We are going to get paid today. That's a break of 6. Let's take a piece. Doesn't matter if it pulled back from those 6s or not. Let's keep getting further movement to the upside here. Let's see if we can get through these 07s and get one nice green little push through 10s, and then we're going to take a piece. We wanted to hold 6s, but all in all, this is a solid setup right here, unless it just wicks down aggressively. If it does that, then we will just take some off at a lower price, because I don't want it to wick back into this range and then give me a flush to the downside. Normally when you see something attempt to break out and then gets back in the range and then gives out a level to the downside, I shouldn't say normally, it has happened before. Uh, and obviously more people could want to buy, get back into this down here. But right around this level, if it gets back into this range and then gives up the price to the downside, this could easily come back in the 4. So I would rather take pieces off in the middle of this consolidation range than hold it all the ways down to here. But right now, holding 6s very well. And now up to 18s, 20s, and let's take a piece off right there and see what our fill came in at. Absolute monster of a trade right here, and we did get 620s right there. So let's see if this can keep going to the upside, and there's 625s. If we can get through 625s, the volume is picking up. So we got 620s. We're sitting on, let's go see how much of the position we got left. We got around 60 to 65%, I would say. Absolute monster of a trade. And let's see if we can just hold this and continue trimming it all the way to the upside. This trade right here is gonna make my week. So absolute monstrous of a trade. So if this wants to go up into the 40s again, we are gonna try and continue taking small pieces off. And when we think this is done, so if we put in like 1, 2, 3, and maybe a 4th candle, and that's up at around 8, there's going to be no hesitation of just taking as much profit as we can. ELOX testing up to 650. Let's see if we can break through these quick 38s, and that should give us a pop up to those 50s again. The wick high is 47s, and there's 45s, 42s. I should see where. So we got 641.99, so basically a 50. And there we are tapping 50s, tapping 50s, tapping 50s, and we're through 50s. Let's take a piece off right there. Oh man, this is an absolute monstrous trade here, guys. Absolute monster. Oh my gosh, let's just keep going. Let's just keep ringing the register as high as it wants to go. Let's get back over those 60s briefly, and let's take a piece off right there. It should have gave us 61s right there. The tape keeps running up. 30 lots on 50s, 25 lots on 50s, 50s holding if 50s can hold. Let's continue getting this movement to the upside. Giving up 50s temporarily, leaving a nice wick, that's fine. all in all, we have 4 minutes left in this candle. If it can leave any type of candle like this, you know, I would expect the next candle to maybe trade back in, retest 6. But this 575 should hold as really good support. So, by all means, we're not trying to cut too much of the position. Like I said, we still got over 50% of the position. Uh, yeah, I wasn't kidding when we had some good size on this one. Maybe I should start trimming more aggressively. So maybe if we get back into those 50s, I can take a piece off and try to get closer to that 50% of the position. And here we are coming back up to test these 50s. It tapped up to 48s just briefly. And here's 22 lots on 50s. I think it should be able to fight through that with this look. Nice increase in volume. And there's over 50s again. And now that it's over 50, let's see if we can wait for like 70s or something. Actually, you know, I said that I wanted to slim it down just a little bit. So let's take another piece. Now we're sitting at exactly 60%. Exactly 60% of the position. And AFRM catching a bid up to 16. So let's go back over there, take a piece off. Gonna start lowering the size that we're taking off here. And we're still over 50% of the position on AFRM. So let's keep going in. The ELOX up to 70s. Oh my gosh, 75s. Let's go get a piece off as fast as we possibly can. Not quite up to those 70s again. There's 70s, there's 72s, 72s, 71s. Not quite. And giving up 50s again. There's 70s. Get back up to 70s. Only one lot on 69. And we're going to take just a little bit off. And let's just go ahead and keep doing it. As long as this candle wants to keep ripping, we are going to keep taking profit. So approaching this 50% of the position. And let's see if we can get up to 7s. We're going to go on the ask at 85s and 90s. 85s filled. ELOX. Oh my goodness. Happy camping. Happy camping. And there's 90s on the tape, so let's go ahead and take another piece off. Now we should be sitting right around that 50% of the position. Not quite. So this next order, let's just go ahead and get right to that 50%. And there is over 7s, so let's go for it right there. Now we're a little under 50% of the position left. We are getting more aggressive on the trims now as this candle is a little exhaustive. Do we need to pull back in? Can we see this candle be green up through like 750s? If it can do that, then we are not going to hesitate. So if it makes a push up to 725s, let's take another piece off there, and there to push up to 25. So oh my goodness, monstrous trade right here. There's 30s on the ass. Can we get through 30s? We are through 30s. Let's get a push up to 50s. Can we push up to 50s? Can we push up to 50s? 30 or 76 lots on 35s. If we can get through 35s, I'm gonna feel pretty good about 40s, and here we are, 44s. Oh my gosh, just a monstrous move. Let's take a piece off there. And let's go on the ask at 50s. And if 50s can fill, let's go see how much of the position we got now, because we are just ringing the register left and right. Now we're sitting at 40% of the position. 40% of the position left and coming back in, so that's all right. Let's stop some at 7. $6.95 stop for another trim. I feel that's reasonable. $6.95. Actually, we can go the open of the candle is 96s, so let's just go $6.90. If that candle starts turning red, we're just gonna take another piece off. But hopefully we don't have that doesn't stop us out. If this candle wants to keep pushing, we are on the ask at 50s for a trim, I believe. Yep, we are on the ask at 750, and we got a stop loss at 690. So regardless of which way this wants to go, we're gonna feel pretty good about it. Yeah, I have no time to really even look at anything else right now. So if nope, nothing in the chat as of right now. Yeah, it's too bad nobody's out there watching this because monstrous trade today. And there's 750 giving us the fill, and let's just change this stop loss and get ready to adjust this to a market if this wants to rip up. Oh my. Oh, holy smokes. Monstrous trade. 70s, we're trying to hold on the tape there. '70s now. Oh man, the bid was stacked at 68s there, and there was good size on that. So they're looking to push this higher. If we can get a push up to 8, we're gonna switch that to a preview. Getting ready to take candy 750s. Can we reclaim 750s? Reclaim 750s, and we should be good. Make sure we have volume. Yeah, we do have volume. So we can go see where those fills came in. We got a 750. We didn't get anything out up to those 75s, but we think that we still can. Pick and reclaim 50s. Looks good for maybe a test up the wick of this candle again. Still a ton of volume coming into the name. Looking at a firm still holding 16, so that is everything that we want to be happening right there. Let's get a refresh on the top movers. ELOX, yeah, clear top mover for today. Zillow catching a bid. AFRM pushing up, tested that 1610 briefly right there. Coinbase strong. ZIM back up to those 1350, so you can see we're testing this sort of flat top up there. And if I were to scroll down, let's see where that ZIM order actually came in at. So ZIM, we got a 1348, so let's just be patient, see if we can get a breakout on the name. Wicking on ELOX, so this very well could be the wick top temporarily. Do we need to see some 9 minutes left on this candle, so let's not rush it too much. But if this candle does turn red, we do risk this coming back in to test 6, so we are going to be careful. Like I said, we still have a decent amount of size on the position. Is the position going to instantly drop down and put us in the red? More than likely not. But here we go. If we can reclaim 50s, we think that we can make a test up to the highs again. And here we did reclaim 50 bids, stacking at 50s, now 56. And now push straight up to 70s. Can we get a breakout of the highs here? And it looks like we're going to try only 2 lots on 72s, and 77s are 70 lots, and we're right through that. Took out those 70 lots like butter. And let's take that piece off right there. That fill should have came in. And there's the push through 8. Holy smokes. Let's go on the ask right at 8. On the ask at 8. We're now down to about 33% of the position left. And we just got filled at 8 flat. Let's see if we can push even higher. Extend to even higher. Monstrous trade. Let's get back over 8. Good size there on the tapes running through at 80s. The bid. And that, yeah, when I see size like that coming in on the tape, that is normally a pretty good sign. Here we are pushing through 8, so let's go ahead and, oh, we didn't get those 20s. Pushed up there briefly, close to 20. But now trying to hold 8 as support. If we can hold 8 as support, we like this. So maybe push even higher. Gave up 8s temporarily. Are we going to flush back in? Looks like we might try, but good size on the tapes. Trying to hold 70s right here. Yeah, I know, puppy. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. Let's get back over those 8s. If we can get back over 8s, we're gonna feel pretty good. But a ton, just an absolute ton of volume coming in. Relative to what was these first 3 candles, and now, you know, even if it pulled back into like 6s, I would still think that 6 is a reasonable area to be looking long. A lot of traders, they like to wait, be patient, let it show you this type that it can take out the highs, and then whenever this high comes in and those red candles start coming in, there's, you know, 2, 3, maybe 4, and it comes into some sort of level like the previous high. That's where a lot of traders like it right there. So if this wants to pull back in and then catch a bid to the upside, that's, I mean, and a firm still holding this 1610. And here we are trying to reclaim 75s, only 1 lot on it, 32 lots, holding it up at 70s, bid stacking on top of that. It looks like we're going to go test up through 8 again. How much size is going to be on this, on the ask in the middle of this wick right there? If it can get over 8s, you know, anybody that's trying to short the top here is gonna be losing money, and that's what we want to see for continuation. And 30 lots on 99s, it took out 29 of them right away, and 43 off of 8. If we can take out 43 lots on 8, 37 lots on 8, and right through 8, oh my god, blasting up to the 20s. We took our piece off right there, and let's see if we can run up the 50s. And let's just go take a piece off again. Absolute monstrous trade. Now let's go on the ask at 50s. on the ask at 50s. That should have gave us a fill. Should have gave us a fill right there. It only wicked over that briefly, and we did get a 50 fill right there. Holy smokes! When does it stop? Let's go look at some levels. Actually, we're just, this could easily run up to 950s right here, which is sort of the flat top. I'm just gonna mark the wicks and the bodies of those candles. It looks like it's gap free. Yeah, I mean, this could easily go take out the highs. We want to make sure we have some sort of piece if this wants to take out. I'd say your breakout's actually around 11, so affirm up to 1620, continuing that churn. And we do have another gap right in here that we're filling and holding above. Let's just go take a small piece off of affirm. Why not? I mean, the day that we're having, let's just continue just taking profits where we see fit. And just like that, almost $2 in the money from that 14, over $2 in the money from that 14 break. And ELOX testing even higher. That this name is absolutely unstoppable right now. And testing up to that 9. Let's go see how much of this position we have. We just took off a good sized piece, and now we're sitting at 20% of the position. So let's hold off a little bit. We can't hold off. I can't help myself. I gotta go to continue ringing the register on this name, and we're gonna go back to small cuts, right through nines, and here we are. Let's ring the register again. Oh my gosh, 155 lots on the bid trying to. Oh my gosh, we're halted to the upside. Oh, what's this open price going to come in at? We are now halted to the upside. If we gap up through this up to 11s, we still have a little under 20% of this position. If we want to get frisky, man, imagine holding this entire position through the entire move. Would have been absolutely insane. Would have been absolutely insane. My current position at this 910, we have the cost basis at a 483 and 88% in the money. So an absolute home run trade right here. There's from 83s, almost the wick low. Monstrous move, and there was a lot of size on the tape. There was 155 lots on the tape when this halted. So I would be surprised if this was gonna come on in. So pretty much if this opens up over 10, we're approaching that breakout level. Zim still trying to set this flat top at this 1350s. If this needs to pull back into 25s, we still think that it can trade in this range before it gives us a pop to the upside. Let's look over at Roblox. And Roblox gave us that flat top break. Hold on, let's go take a piece off of Roblox and ring the register. Take off another 10%. Not as much size on this position, but it was a reasonable position, and we've talked about this flat top at that it was building, setting up the higher lows throughout this trend line. Get the entries for the eventual breakout. Trim the levels on the upside. That's what we're doing today. We're trimming some levels on the upside. We respected around this flat top in front of 43s. We respected 43s, and now we're up here taking profits through the breakout. But we want to keep watching ELOX because Griff, Mr. Rudy, Drift, how we doing, man? Yeah, it's good to be back. It was my mother's last day in town yesterday, so I didn't have as much time to live stream, but now we're back at it today, and we're in on a monstrous trade on ELOX. We started building this position around 530s, give or take. We respected 25s, we respected 5 flats, we respected 490s, the middle of this green move, and we were hovering over the sell on this name. But something told me, hey, this green move right here, we're right in the middle of this candle. So we've doubled up on this position almost. It was almost a double up on the position around this 480. And boom, the wick started showing, and I'm like, great, here we go. And we had trims all the ways up. Our best trim was a 68, and we came back in, we reloaded 510, and we were on the ask at 505. The 505 order was better. Never got that fill, and it has been nothing but trim all the ways to the upside. Well, now we're halted at 910, and when it halted, there was 155 lots on the bid. So we're thinking that this is gonna open up. I don't have the right software, right trading to see what the open price is gonna be or even when it starts. So I'm just gonna be ready to take some profits right when this opens, or maybe give it a little bit of time. And we're still sitting on probably a little under 20% of the position, but like I said, we had good size on the position. So other than that, Zim, we tried this as it was kind of holding. It showed this that it wanted to break over top of this flat top right here. So this is what I was looking for. So as it was coming back in, we had orders all the ways into 13. So we had two fills. We had a 1310 and a 1307. We never got 1305s, never got 1302s, and never got 13. And now we have one trim on the name at 1350 flat. And now if this wants to just trade sideways, even if it wants to come back into like 36s, maybe even 30s, 25s, we think that this can eventually give us another break. But you can see we're trying to set this flat top up over into this resistance. But the reason why I liked it is because uh, it gave that gap up. It never retraced down to this 1250, where I would say a lot of people would have had their eyes on this third point of contact for 1250. And ELOX opens up at 56s, so let's go take a piece off. Let's see if we can get back up through there. Oh my goodness. And we're going to take a piece off right there. Let's see where that fill came in at. And we got 48s, which I think is a little highway robbery right there. But that's fine. That's fine. If you'd have told me that I was taking, small trims up at, when I took this trade up at near 10, you wouldn't have heard me complaining. And we're going to start even lowering that size that we're taking off. And 56 lots on the bid. Oh man, 8 through that fast, and that could be the wick top for today. Let's just go take this last piece off while we're at 9s. And this very well could be the wick top for today. Yes. So your question, how are you? I'm very good. I'm feeling like the king of the world right now. But I will say I was a little upset with Etsy. Etsy, I don't remember if you recall me talking about Etsy, but this gap fill on Etsy was one that I really wanted to play with. We had sort of a longer term trend line on this daily, and we were coming into some levels. Now, the big story is you had a gap right here. You retrace from 150 all the ways down to the gap where you catch a bid, retest up towards 100, and then it leaves this gap on the way up. Boom. Where do we retrace to? We set this short double bottom right off this, which could also be some sort of trend line. Now I should have been ready at this 84 break, but the only reason why I didn't is because it had this gap right here, and then when I set this full green engulfing candle, it was going to be on watch for me today. Well, it gaps up to 88s, doesn't give any type of pullback, any opportunity for me to go in and take a position, and just flying to the upside now. And I would say 94.65 gap is reasonable for profit takings. If it gets over 96, you're anything you're taking is for a breakout for an eventual 100 break, but you do have a gap at this 98 to 99 area. So yeah, I was upset with that. But all in all, this CRBU was also on watch for me today. I haven't looked at it at all today, but I wrote it down. I looked at it yesterday and I said, hey, we're trading in a channel right here. I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart. You're going to be like, ooh, that looks pretty good. Well, here's the opening candle. Had I just been watching it and say, hey, we have a beautiful start to this uptrend right here, ascending channel. Let's just try it right here, and hopefully we can get some trims and some reloads as it comes back in, as it was able to break over top of that high. 675 could easily be an area of holding support, where if it comes even lower, retest to 650, you set a higher low, and before you know it, top end of the channel from the 650 is 25%. So yeah, this ELOX, I'm very tempted to just cut the whole position, the rest of the position, but um, crazier moves have happened. You got nice increasing volume. If this is red candle number 1, which we have 7 minutes left, volume's picking up, kind of a inverse hammer candle, uh, bearish signal unless the buyers can come in and leave some sort of wick. But monstrous move. And why we even liked ELOX today, I heard there was some sort of analyst reiterated the outperform signal. I mean, that's a load of bogus. That's just a load of crap, if you ask me. I mean, look at the setup. You're building this flat top right here. Look at these wicks over here. Run up to it, run up to it. Now we're running up to it again. I would say I wouldn't be surprised if this rejected this 9, had to pull back into like 6s, catch a bid, maybe even pull back into like 5s. But if it wanted to just blast through this, I mean, the home run move would be like 15, maybe up to 18. Yeah, that's a. But you can see the flat top right here. You can see just marking these tops. This is what we're at right now. So trying to attempt to fill this gap. Is this eventually going to fill this 15 gap? I wouldn't be surprised. But look at the move. So on this first move to the upside, your high volume candle was 7 mil. The next move, which ends up gapping down and comes all the way back into the trend line, well, that's 11 mil. Now on the day, you can see the trend line of the volume is getting higher and higher and higher. Is that going to be for an eventual breakout to run up to some of these gaps? I don't know. I really don't know. Not even bringing in revenue yet. And AFRM, oh man, I didn't even see AFRM. AFRM up to these 1640s. Continuing to run, testing this sort of wick and these lows. So I see that as a pretty interesting area to go ahead and ring the register. Now about $2 and 20 to 40 cents in the money. Let's go ring the register on that, and yeah, cannot complain there. ELOX still trying to hold these 9s, so if this is going to be an indecision candle, the next candle starts turning red. We are going to look at this as the bull flag, so I could, just exit out, try and enter in lower, maybe in the middle of this green move, down near 750s. I think that would be reasonable. But home run trade for sure. And now the candle's turning green. Now 916, 917. 5 minutes left on this candle, and it was a halt from this candle. So I don't even recall how much time was in there. But if this wants to test up to the wick highs, we could get ready to go take some more off, because now we're holding 950s. Let's go see what the tape's looking like here. ZIM still sitting around those 1350s. Let's get a fresh update on the top movers. Our RBLX continuing the green move, and it looks like we have some sort of downtrend that we have tomorrow. Let's go look at the daily. And yeah, you can see we're trying to run up for that gap. So we can respect, let's just respect the downtrend that we have set. And as we get up to like 14 or 44, 60 to 80, we can take a piece off, and then we already know our next areas that we're looking to take off is 45s to the gap fill, which the gap fill is around 45, 65. Now giving up nines, 3 minutes left in this candle. If this candle wants to be red and comes in to like 860s, 850s, I would expect this to give 3 red candles. Now, if it can be a green candle, it could easily turn green on the next candle. And I really got to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to let you hold it down, Drift. Hold down the fort, hopefully it breaks out, and let's just go on the tape at 980. So if 980s want to fill while I'm going to the bathroom, we will take that all day. So I will be right back. And we are back. Let me make sure my headset's on. It's on. 840. Oh, that's all right, Drift. Like I said, I only got a little. We got under 20% of the position left. So, I mean, this could put a red engulfing down to 560, 550 for all I care. Honestly, I mean, I could go run through the tape of what we got. Oh man, just an endless amount of transactions on the name today. So let's go from the start. 530, 39, 49, 57, 72, 84, 6, 620, 641, 650, 660, 656, 661, 672, 685, 691, 7, 717, 738, 750, 784, 8, 807, 833, 850, 893, 904, 948. 948 is the best print that we've had on the name today. So we have 1, 2, 3, which equals about 5% over where we're at right now. So we can hit reloads on the name down to like 7. So this is what I was talking about, where this could be that wick top, but still decreasing volume. We have 8 minutes left in this candle. Decreasing volume again, but this third candle, if it comes back down into like this wick top, that wick top is going to be interested to me. And if I go to a 5 minute, that's probably the body of these candles. So then I can mark the top wick right there, which is also like 774. So we go back to that 15 minute, and this is actually where we're looking for the pullback in, where we can actually think about trying to add some size back on, and if we get an eventual test of 9, we can then get the breakout of 10. And if it wants to come back in all the way to 6, I would say 6, which is this wick top, should be pretty good support and should give you some sort of a trend line right here. But they would have to break that trend line to get there. So this is where we're looking. So I mean, it's all right. I mean, regardless of what this wants to do for right now, we're okay with it. So, but I did see something while I was going to the bathroom. Is plug, which now it's coming back in, of course, but it's been a while since we revisited plug. We still have that same position. So let's go over with this red engulfing candle. I think it's probably worthy to just go take a piece off while we're over 11. We got some good size on the bid. But let's go take a piece off. We haven't had any fills above 11, so let's go and take that and ring the register, playing around with a 10 level, dollar in the money, and that is what we're looking for. I'm sure there's more I could do. But now my dog's got to go outside, so I'm going to go let the dogs out, and I will be back. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. Looking at ELOX, candle number 2, 40 seconds left of the pullback. Oh wow, AFRM came all the ways back in. Tested that 1650 very well. A lot of good volume came in. So I'd say, you know, a retest of that 16 is reasonable, maybe a little bit lower. Marking that one red candle and just marking these wick tops right here. You know, could go with the bodies of the candles as well. So I'd say those are reasonable areas for some pullbacks. Let's see what else is catching a little bit of resistance to the downside. And see, so I was glad I looked over at plug and took a little piece off. But looking at the daily, you know, kind of just fighting in with that resistance level over there. We can look at PWM. We were playing around with PWM a little bit, or a little bit yesterday, and you see an indecision candle. Good volume that came into it the previous couple days, and now kind of flirting around to this trend line, where I'd say you could take a position and give it the lows right here, which that was pretty good support before. And the reason why it's probably trying to act as support is because you got this 2150 previous top, and if you went from the wick right around to that area. And I don't really like that channel being in my way like that. Not a fan of it, at least. So we're just going to pull it down just a little bit and adjust it like that. And adjust it like that, even though, you know, there's probably 100 different ways you could put that trend line. I would say potential ascending channel is still in the works. Now let's look over at that. You know, we should look over at KRE. I wrote this one down. And, you know, not a half bad setup. Are the buyers going to come in here at this level around 42? Look at the daily on this. You can see the gap up, retrace down. This is probably where I would have liked it. You know, buy the gap, buy 70s, buy as low as they can get. Now, it probably would have been on the tape at 50s. So KRE, not a half bad name. Disney. I forget who was in here talking about Disney the other day. But we did play around with Disney yesterday. Around that 88 level was my best fill. I think it was at 88.03. And didn't keep buying as it went lower, but we also bought 88.30s, 88.20s, 88.10s, and 88s. So nice to see that position starting to go into the green. No chance am I taking profits on Disney on a $1 pop. You'll hear, hopefully you'll be hearing me talk about Disney when we're up at this 101 gap. How about that? You guys getting on board with that? I can get on board with that. Let's look at some of the top movers. ELOX back over 9. So this is what I was talking about. A lot of people, they like waiting to see this move. They want to see that first red candle come in, and if they are impatient, a lot of times when they're impatient, that they're just gonna mark it in around the middle of this green move. And now it's starting to catch a big green to the upside. Are we gonna see another leg up? Let's go ahead and see another leg up. We're on the tape at 985s. So you know, the way this candle's looking, we have 11 minutes left. It looks like we are going to go run up to get this fill, potentially. Let's go look back at that KRE, because that one is the one that I would say, yeah, let's go ahead and try a fresh trade right here. Let's try this KRE. trade, even though, you know, there's your 3 candles, you'd like to see it start turning up, but if this wants to start building a U, this KRE trade doesn't look half bad. So let's start a entry level position, and we can go on the tape at 42s. So we got the entry level position. Let's see what else we can find. Man, the sticky notes I currently have are just junk. CRBU, let's go take a look at that. CRBU. CRBU, how about that? We said, hey, look at this channel. Look at this channel. Shoom. Get the entry, trim the levels to the upside. You can reload the pullback for the higher low. Call it a day. Well, if you were trimming those levels, we're currently at a level. 7 flat and these previous lows. If this is some sort of retracement, boom, direct contact with that 702. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Who else? Man. I'm not even going to get into it today. I'm not getting into it today. And ELOX wicking up to that level, retesting that 950. We got 9 minutes left on the candle. Let's see. KRE, let's keep an eye on that. Holding these 950s. Let's just put an alert right there on those 4110s. You know, if it pulls back into 42s, though, we like the support that we have. We have the wick top from the open candle. We have the body top of the next candle from 4207 to 42. And I'm sure we have some sort of trend line. Sure do, something like that. Breaking over, here's your fall. You build the neckline, you respect the trend line. Now, boom. A little bit of a back test. It drops below those wicks a little bit, but if we mark everything, you can see this little U that it built right in here at the end of the day yesterday. Holding these 4180s, give or take. And now as soon as this open candle tests 50s, which is the support that I was holding yesterday, and now puts a green move through all of that. And now trying to hold over highs. If KRE can hold this level and start building a U, we think that it can actually take out the highs. So I'm already telling myself a 4250 is probably a break on the name. ELOX up to 4250s right now. Let's 63s. Can we get this 80 fill? I don't even remember how much we're on the tape for, so let's go ahead and look at that. We have 90 or 980, excuse me. So we got to as high as 65s right there. And not a lot of size that I'm going to be trimming there. So we can go a few shares off 960 if that wants to fill. Go for it. AFRM re-holding that 16. This is what I was saying. Just looking for a test of 50 or 16. You have decreasing volume off of 5 green candles. Pretty decent. Oh my gosh. I'm just now seeing oil. I'm pretty sure if you went and looked at an oil name, they're probably in the green. You know, if they're not, you gotta ask yourself why. But there is the bull flag continuation that we're looking for. And now, are we gonna build this flat top at 75? Do we need to pull back into like 72s, which is, you know, you had a downtrend right here. I'm sure you have another downtrend in here somehow, shape or form, sort of like that. But if we test up the 77, 75 I shouldn't say should. 75 could easily act as really solid support for the name. And CRBU actually testing through that briefly. 713 is what I had marked. It was just at 714. Oh, we got a couple higher movers right here. Let's go look at a 15. Yeah, that's a nice consolidation. Little volume increase in with it. FVRR, how long were we talking about FVRR? You guys remember me saying, hey, potential wedge pattern right here, even though it's set in a lower low? Just connect the lows and you're right there. It's holding as support. High margin company, free cash flow positive, more cash than debt. Decent look. So let's see where this wick high got to this time. 65 still the wick high. So we're still on the tape at 960 and 980. is the next two areas that we're looking to take profit. So 18 cents away right now. Let's see if we can get this fill 12 cents away. ELOX, let's go look at the tape. If it can reclaim over top of these 50s, we're looking for it to catch a bid and get a couple fills, maybe test up to 10. If it can break through 10, we think we have a home run. We already have had a home run. I've seen it get as high as 50s there. Let's go take a look at KRE. KRE, a penny out of the money. But I like the setup. Nice 3 green candles, and on the way down, decreasing volume. The one candle that picks up a little bit, it leaves this wick of buying. So I'm expecting some buying pressure to come in. You know, let's just go ahead and sprinkle into a little bit more. Why not? Let's sprinkle into a little bit and see if we can hold this level right there. Some other notable moves. DocuSign, I like the setup on DocuSign. Looks like it tested through. You know, I probably put this there because I had this. But this is bigger time resistance right here, and I'm gonna show you why. So I would really love to see the price at least go test up to like 52 halves, because this is sort of the flat top that it has right here. Now if you take this drop, that's the 702. These last couple retracements is what we're trying to get over still. ELOX still not giving me those fills to the upside, but 3 minutes left in this candle. If it closes the candle above 9, I think it looks pretty juicy for some continuation, and the volume is picking up. 2 pullback candles. That candle leaves a nice wick. So if this even pulled back into like 908, I think you have buyers there. Do the sellers eat through that? Maybe. Maybe we don't even. Maybe this is a double top that's coming in. I don't know. I don't see that. I wouldn't be calling double top just yet. But and there was the retest of 9, and there is the crack of 9. So that wick a little bit scary. 2 minutes left in this candle though. We can still try this at a price up near this 910. It's probably going to have a bigger fight trying to get through 9. And we're able to kind of break through 9s temporarily. Let's look back at KRE. And KRE up to 22. So that was a nice little sprinkle that we had in there. One last fill at 14s before we start catching a little bit of a bid. This one's going to be a more aggressive style hold. I'm not going to respect these 42.30s. I'm looking for this to take out the highs. I'll let it stop me out before I take profits in the middle of this, like 42.30. You know, we might respect 42.50s because that's a breakout level, and then we can, you know, respect the levels to the downside, respect the previous highs, maybe hit a reload. But ELOX, leaving that wick right there is not the best looking wick. I'm not gonna freaking I'm not gonna praise this candle like I was praising it when it was at 920, because I want this last minute. I want it to reclaim 9. I want it to set a close up here. If it does, you're gonna have people looking for continuation on this next candle. Now, underneath 9, you might have people a little bit scared, but also people looking for this to break down, test to 8 again. So reclaiming 9, a little tap 9 just briefly. And look at Roblox, got to his wick high of 44.50. Etsy coming on in just a little bit as well. Nothing crazy. Zim back into 1330. So that's what we were saying when it was building this flat top up here. We said, you know, it's reasonable for it to come back down into 1325s, but we got a good entry on this. We took a 13 break. And unless this goes out of the money for us, I think we're okay just holding this. And the reason being was this third point of contact. A lot of times I put a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot more weight, a lot more belief in this third point of contact. I like that third point of contact to solidify a trend line. So maybe with it not getting there, maybe it needs to pull back in and eventually fill this gap before we start developing higher highs. But I mean, we got the higher high in. We took the 13 break, so that was followed up with a nice green candle. So we're expecting buyers of these two candles. If any profits were taken, we're expecting some profits to be reloaded back in the middle of this green move. And same story with ELOX. This could very well be the high. Well, now we have the open in the next candle. It's turning green. Can we get back over 9? So this is this wick that it left right here. The sellers are winning that battle. You can see it set the level right here. You know, the buyers pushed it back up. It got to very close to a breakout level, and the sellers, boom, push it all the way back down to 880. Plug still trying to hold 11s. ELOX could reclaim 9 here. If it reclaims 9, it could get going easily. Could get going. CRBU, just straight green move to the upside. Breaking through those lows. You know, the body candles, it looks like we're slightly over those as well. So yeah, this is one, you know, right off the open, I took a glance at it and I was like, man, let's see it kind of hold this area. Well, then I got into the ELOX trade and it was all focus was there. So, I mean, would have been a great trade. I mean, we'd be sitting 11% in the money. We can look around at some other names. IRWD, I felt was putting wicks into this long-term trend line. You're gonna see this trend line. You're like, oh, that is a trend line. Boom, 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 boom. Now it's kind of setting a double bottom. We never played around with it yesterday, but now if it comes back in to like a 10, you know, we could even put an alert in on the name just to kind of put it on radar. Don't have any alerts left. That's all right. We can look over at Geo. Geo's another position we're kind of building out. Still holding these 7s. Is this the confirmed higher low? You know, I'm okay buying it at higher price. We're waiting for a 735. If that gets over 735, we like the name. And we're looking for it to kind of test up to that area and give us a gap over it. If it gives us a gap of some sort over top of that, that is what we'd be looking for. ELOX back over 9. Okay, now we could have some weight here. Got to as high as 937, back down to 9s. Can 9s hold as support right here? You can see the baby U shape that it built. Can we break over 970? Over 970, I think we push 10, or at least tap 10. And does it wick down again? Affirm, as I was saying, you know, that was really good green volume that came in off of one pullback candle, giving you the sort of ascending sort of channel right here. Tight consolidation channel. You know, I'd say up to 17 is reasonable trims, but excuse Excuse me. I would say this gap fill up at 1876 is not out of the question, so we want to make sure we have a piece of it if it wants to go up there. What else do we got? We got some other names we could go glance over at. PWM. PWM respecting this is we were just talking about this. We went over there and looked at it and we said, hey, we have an ascending channel here. If this starts building a U shape, that 30 break is legit. That's a legit breakout area. Now if this pulls back in, we're gonna go take an alert off and make sure we have this ready to go, because this is building a nice setup. Let's put that alert in down to 2670. And this is a new position that we did start, was Foot Locker. Catching a nice bid. Playing around with that 26 level. We're buying this. Shows a little bit. We're looking to hold this more, a little bit longer term. I would say I think Foot Locker's fair value down here. I wouldn't say it's undervalued just yet. If it got down anywhere close to 20s, I think Foot Locker is definitely undervalued. Let's go to a monthly chart on this. You can see we probably have some sort of trend line in this as well. So this is why these low 20s, I'd say, really reasonable area. And you can see the nice W pattern. Boom, 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 boom. Retest of the neckline gives you the move. Now we're holding support at that neckline. All these tops built in right here is pretty much the current price that we're at. So we're kind of playing this support level. And if we catch a bid and get up into the 30s, we like to just kind of trim the position down a little bit. So PWM, let's go back there. ELOX did give up 9 for the moment. You can see the catalyst. If it holds 9 on this candle, you know, that next green candle could be the breakout candle. So we got 8 minutes left here on this candle. And let's see if we can get some further upside move. It's been a little boring here just watching it. Lift, I can see lift down there on the bottom right. Lift, we were paying attention to the lift yesterday. We weren't discrediting the sort of breakout look that it had. We wanted to just mark it in, but we also wanted it around this 75, and I think it came as low as the 80s on that little U shape that it built. 85s. So you can see the retest of these wicks, this first little breakout level. You can see it right there, give or take. Didn't mean to use that one. ELOX still holding these 9s. Or are we going to get a breakout? S-Fix. I did write this name down. Yeah, we seen it. Around this 425 set to close positive, showing a sort of a trend line. Where if we are showing that trend line, you got a flat top here at 555. It's a good premium. So yeah, not a half bad look. A lot of these names are setting up very bullish. MRO breaking the downtrend, holding that support. I would say this is justifiable in itself. You're near a breakout level. If it pulls back into 2381s, you're going to be hearing me bragging about this one. If we get retrace up to this gap, upper 20s, maybe into the 30s. Key Corp, we've talked about Key Corp holding this support right here, now building the U. Unfortunately, we do not have the position in Key Corp. So that's sad to say. ZI, we had it wrote down, and you can see trend line, third point of contact now right at that sort of breakout level. And actually a pretty decent setup. A lot of green candle moves to the upside. Here's Tuesday, so green moved to the upside. Here's your first two candles, now putting in a nice green candle. ELOX still holding 9. CRBU straight through. Straight through those previous lows. And PWM putting that green candle, gonna go test up to this 29 level. On increased volume, here we are at 29 right now. We could have played around with it. We could have. If this sets a close in like this, we're okay. Dipping into this at 26s. Anywhere in the 26s, we'd say looks pretty good. DLO, we wrote this one down too. Remember when we were trading DLO back over on this green move? Seeing that it was holding these 12s and this wick puts it on the map. Now this also puts it on the map as it's trying to wick up to that. Well, now when it takes it out, you don't have as much. You have some people saying, hey, is this a gap fill or does this count? So you don't have as many people looking at it right there. But this was, you know, 30 to 20 cents to the downside. That's what they're looking for right there. And now that we're over that, pretty decent look on DLO. So a lot of breakout catalyst. ZIM. This candle shows you that if it can close above 13, it looks very good. ELOX giving up 9s. I don't really like the setup. Giving you the descending channel look already. So we said right here it might be a double top. We don't think it is. But now you can see if we just mark those right there. There's your catalyst for the descending channel. Potentially day's high wick right here. And that candle that's coming in right there. Let's just go stop some shares out at the wick low right here. Or the body. We can go the open at 867, so we can go 860. So let's go ahead and stop some shares at 860. Didn't get the stop in time. Let's see if it can pop up just briefly, and let's go under 45s. Alright, so there's the 860 pop right there. $8.45. We'll put it in at 8.45. That keeps it reasonable. But if it wants to test down to this 8.45, we'll take a piece off and see if we can hold some part of this move. And 8.45s is going to stop us out some shares here. No, let's see if that held. Hopefully that held, and it did hold temporarily. So 8.50s trying to hold here. Let's move this stop down the 40s. Up and there before we could even switch it. We got stopped out of some shares there. So that's alright. We can see the early look of this stair step. Well, this wick is going to be another area we could potentially stop some shares out. RBLX testing the highs. So we're looking for 44.70s to 80s. Being some bit of resistance. And 40s would have stopped us out anyway, so no matter. We now have 10% of the position left, where we were trying to get 60s, we were trying to get 80s, we just weren't able to get them. Need to get a water. Coming back, I'm glad to see this candle leaving that wick right there. Wasn't sure if it would. But now holding above these 60s. I think the wick low of that candle, I think, is a reasonable stop. So like 35s. So let's go ahead and put a 35 stop in for another trim. So we got the 835 stop in, leaving a nice wick. Let's go look back at that PWM because this one looks like it's gonna give up. It leaves a nice green candle through even the tops over here. The top of the wicks there is where it sets to close, and now putting a green candle in. So if it wants to come back into 2650, we're there. We even just wanted to put us on the map a little bit earlier, even though it might not. We'll go 2725s if that triggers us in any way. We can come back, look back to it. ELOX holding these 50s, wicking into 50s. So if this is that wick top indecision candle that you're looking for, you have the decreased volume, the green candle that gets more selling, and now decreased volume again with a wick of indecision both ways, and now wicking on this candle. If this wants to build a U-shape sort of build, we're looking for a 950 break. But obviously it's going to have to fight through 9s and probably 880s, which is the top of the bodies of those candles. Let's go look around again. I didn't see an alert on KRE, so let's go take a look at KRE and look at that. 12 and 14 cents in the money, so nothing really to brag about for now. But holding that positive break, taking this sort of neckline break, and trying to get good shares bought, we're going to respect the gap. So 43 is what we're looking for our first trims. ELOX still holding 850s. AFRM, a nice looking candle on AFRM. This is actually a bull setup. It didn't have the weakness to retrace back down to that 1478 gap. And anybody who is trying to short that, it opens, where does it open? Right at the gap fill. So it gaps down right here, which is a bear setup. If it fills that gap in wicks, you're looking for continuation below that wick low. Well, now it kind of counters them. Kind of a bear trap where it gaps up and doesn't have the weakness to retrace down. So anybody that's short in front of this move right now, out of the money. We'd like more of these to get out of the money. You can see shorts getting in. We want to see this price get over top of that level. This was the golden entry. This is kind of a flat bottom. Boom, breaks down. So from this area, you gap down and fill the gap. You see that? So anybody short off that gap down, here's their reloads near their original entry. Here's their follow through, taking profits, and now they're looking to reload those profits again. Well, now their reload gets out of the money, and that's where they're getting stopped out. Potentially. But that's kind of how I see it. So I like the catalyst for this to maybe catch a bid. And let's see if it can run up to 18s. If it can run up to 18s, we're going to be very happy with that position. And plug actually up to those 1122s. Oh, not quite. Caught a little bit of resistance. Let's go look at plug real quick. Daily candle looks fine. The 15 minute you know, we got our trim right around these 1107, so let's just take a piece off. Take a 5% and ring the register. Probably got 15s there, so not near those 20s or 25s that we were trying to look for, but we'll take it. And ELOX going to stop me out of some more shares right here. Looks like it already did. The wick low, red engulfing. Looks like it's going to give you further movement to the downside, which is unfortunate. You know, I might have the wick low stop right here, which it probably did trigger. It gave me 34, so yes, we did stop out of some more shares there. And let's just go stop some more shares underneath the 20s. We'll go 815. Excuse me. And Roblox testing up near those 47s. RBLX. So let's go take a look. And here we are. This is what we're looking for right here. I just wanted to make sure the chart lined up. Let's go take another 10% and see if this has any further movement to the upside. Ringing the register right into the downtrend. The next area we're looking for takes is 45.50 to the gap. Excuse me, guys. Sometimes coffee just makes my throat itch a little bit. They did price target of 55 bucks. I seen that my bad, H. I didn't see you were in here. Welcome to the channel. Good to see you, brother. I seen that the catalyst was an upgrade. I didn't know the upgrade was 55. Uh, but as long as you're here, H, we got a dandy of an entry on this first candle, and reason being we thought that this was a trend line, gaps up, and we started at 30s, I think it was 33s, then 25s, then 5s, then 90s, and then I was sitting there hovering over a sell, and I switched it to a buy, and we got that buy at 480, and we ran this all the ways up. Top print was 48s, and we're on the ask at 80s and 60s. Well, now we just got stopped out of a couple pieces, and we were hoping that this can hold this wick low, so we have one more stop in at 815, and it did hold for now. It didn't quite get there, and we want to see this take out this wick high at reclaim 9 first, but we're expecting 880s as a little resistance and looking for some further movement to the upside. So yeah, absolute home run of a trade. We had size on it, and we freaking hammered it to the upside. So yeah, very happy for me today. Roblox. We can go look back at that daily chart, and this was sort of what I was talking about for the trend line. Boom, boom, boom. Now look at the volume. Volume on the first move, sort of light. The volume on this move picked up. Well, that was a nice green candle. And the volume on this candle, you can see the trend line build on the volume, and the volume is definitely exceeded. So, I don't know if you're even there, H, but that was what we were looking at. We didn't think we were going to get a test up to this flat top just yet. So you can see the flat top right here. Wick, 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 wick. So that's the resistance that we're looking to break over. If we can do that today, we think we can ring the register up to 15 even. And a part of why this is a flat top is I would just say it's simply just these lows over here. So, yeah, that was what we were looking at. Yesterday, the PWM, which we think is still a reasonable trade, and it's through 30, so we never got alerted on this. But we were calling this out, saying, hey, this is a nice ascending channel. We're just trading sideways, and it was able to take out this top on this candle. And now we were looking for a pullback, a retest of like 2650 to 2680, just never came in. Well, now this wick, kind of a false breakout. Honestly, if you wanted the smoke, you could buy this right now. This is a strong chart setup. Volume, you got eyes on it. We have 5 minutes left in this candle. This is going to increase. So if this leaves a body candle through like 29s, which it's starting to do right now, you could easily get this breakout right here over 30s. So yeah, I'd say that's a reasonable trade setup if you wanted to just build an entry, and you can average this in all the ways to 27, even like 26.50. That's running a deeper stop, of course, but this trend line, this channel's legit. Uh, from the channel to the top end of the channel, that's a 100% move still. So a lot of potential there, and leaving this candle. So buyers coming in off of this top wick. Yep, you are here. Well, I'd say this PWM is a reasonable setup, and the volume is early signs on this consolidation, light volume. You take out this level high right here, volumes picking up, and now we're taking out even the wick highs from yesterday. Volumes picking up. So reasonable trade setup right there. I would be surprised, if this left a red candle with 4 minutes 30 seconds left. Okay, different story. Probably some big selling, some big short getting in right there. But if it holds above this wick, which is a 29 flat right now, you could easily be printing this name up in the 40s before you know it. PR PRFX PRFX. Intraday gap up, so bull setup. If it gets back down there and buyers are holding it up, well, now it doesn't even get underneath of the gap up. Now volume picking up. Let's look at the daily level on this. Oh, look at that flat top. If this is where we gap over right here, I am gonna say, yeah, this has some real weight to it. So let's go to that 15-minute, and we gap up and put the green candle hold. So it was, I guess I could have seen it from right here, duh. But yeah, this looks good. 35K volume. Not seeing any price movement. Is this halted right here? It is halted. Oh, you said that. Oh wow, this is halted right here. Yeah, this is could really get going. We'll add this to the watch list. We're late to the party, so I'm probably not gonna play it. But yeah, what a move. And PWM giving up. So leaving that wick right there, 3 minutes left. I still think this is a reasonable trade. As long as this candle doesn't turn red, though. 2 minutes 40 seconds left on the candle. Looks pretty good. And RBLX, we might have this downtrend set a little incorrect, so we're gonna just go ahead and take a piece off. Why not? Ring the register. That's been the name of the game today, and we'll ring the register. We've talked about this 43 flat top setup, and there was also another build at 42s. So we played the trend line, and now get to have some fun ringing the register to the upside. Exactly what we're looking for. ELOX looks like it wants to hold these wick lows right here. So if this can start building a U, we're looking for a break of 10. If we can get a 10 break, we're all for it. The other trade we were looking at, Hal, was this CRBU. It's a multi-day runner, but the channel was there. We've seen this channel set up. We haven't changed a damn thing on it today. It opens, it wicks down, and this is where ELOX took my attention. And we said, hey, if it pulls back in here to 650, this is a great trade. Well, it's been nothing but green. Actually breaking through the lows right now. Pretty solid trade. 13% top end of the channel, 25% is what we could have been looking for. And PWM still trying to hold right here, so we got down as low as 28.10. We think that this could easily take out the highs of the day still. $28.30s, $28.10s, and now this candle is going to turn red last minute of the day. Our last minute of this candle, is it going to leave some sort of body and close up near 29? If it can do that, this looks like a winner. But if it goes red, you know, it might need another candle. So you can see buyers coming in back minute of the candle. We are not in PWM. We have not traded PWM today. But we were looking for this pullback into 2650. So if this candle does turn red, you know, we can think about put some orders in off this previous high. The only thing that would be really scary is this wick, because that would leave a red candle. I do not want this candle to be red. I want there to be at least more buying on the candle. Is it going to get pushed up last seconds? Ugh. Well, I would say if it tests up to these 30s again and gets over top of the wick high, anybody short off this candle is now out of the money. I just got alerted on PWM, so oh wow, PWM, we're looking at it already, and they're wicked into lows of 2650. It looks like 2650 low. That is exactly the level we wanted to be there for. Already $1 in the money if we had the order. Did I see GDTC? GDTC. KRE crossed 20. So now our shares on KRE are out of the money. Look at the daily setup on this name. We're okay with the pullback to these previous highs. And we can think about an order off 42s. So if it wants to pull back down into like 4180s, we can try some. GDTC. GDTC. My bad, I was going to look at this. Yeah, huge move up. I'd be interested around 4 to 450. I'm probably not going to play around with this one. If I was, you know, these wicks are already kind of giving you the descending channel look as well, where maybe the trade is for a breakout in 9. If you can see shorts getting in, and this can be adjusted probably like that. But I'm not a fan of that setup right there. I need more information in my opinion. I couldn't find any real reason it exploded like this. You know, in my eyes, the reason it exploded like this is more people bought than sold. That's why anything goes up and down in the short term. ELOX still trying to hold these 850s. CRBU still holding these 25s. Let's go take a look over at plug. So testing this sort of flat top here at 11. We really want to see it continue, show this continuation of this channel to the upside, where we're looking for 1250s. If it gets to 1250s, that's, you know, it has the flat top here at 1190s. ELOX, is it going to be able to hold these 820s? It's got a nice sideways, not really any large engulfing candles to the downside. So maybe we can put this wick or this stop a little bit lower at 10s and just hope that it doesn't get triggered out. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's lower that stop down to 10s. AFRM still holding these 16s, trying to build this flat top. If it pulls back down to 16s, can it hold 16s? This PRFX is now open, and look at the candle move it's having. A lot of volume in this candle relative to what it was, and 11 minutes left here on this candle. What the hell? Activision up to 92. Holy shnikes, mate. Yeah, yeah, Hal, I've never really talked to you about Activision, but I'm a firm believer this 95 is printing from the deal, and Yeah. We are ringing the register. We are going to go take a piece off of Activision ASAP. Wow. Wow. That is quite the move. Let's just take off 10%. 92 flat. Oh boy. Ring the register. The patience I've had on this. Good lord. Original entry on the name is down in the 60s. High margin. High moat. Come out with the best video games in the world. No debt. Cash flow covers its debt in a year and a half. Yeah, we will ring the register there. And now continuing to catch a bid. Continuing to catch a bid is Activision. What a move. And we are approaching 95s. Or it's either 95 or 94s. I don't remember what it is. Is there some sort of news on Activision? Let me go see if we got some news on Activision about this, about the acquisition. Antitrust regulators ready to consider the revisions Microsoft Activision purchase. What is the revision? It rallies after judge says Microsoft can close the deal. Yes, sir. Microsoft deal to buy goes forward. Where is there anything on the revisions? I didn't see anything on the revisions. Huh, I didn't see anything on the revisions, but absolutely pumping right now is Activision. Monstrous move, and let's go on the ask at 93s. Let's just go on the ask for a little size off 93s, and we'll ring the register there. If it gets there. 93 flat in. I can see ELOX continuing to hold this level. No large engulfing candles. A lot of wicks. Wick, 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 wick. You know, if we map this out like this, you know, this is the sort of differentiation. I don't know the right term for that. But we think that if it follows this channel, we could be sitting at that 7 where we're looking for reloads off around 7 flat. Probably in the middle of the, call it a 750. Activision catching a little bit of a wick, got as high as 93s. So on the ask at 93s, let's see if we can get that. Roblox rejected 45s for the time being, so that wants to continuation to the upside. And FVRR continuing, we are going to start. We have not taken any profits on the name, but we are going to start around anywhere close to this downtrend right here, and I can see there is a gap that we have right there. So we're going to start in front of 28s. So let's just put an alert right there at 70s. What else we got? Zim, how? I don't know if you're still there. My bad, I haven't looked back to the. You're gonna short Activision when they said that the deal is gonna go through to put it at $95 a share. 95 is gonna print, Hal, and you're gonna short it. You're insane, my boy. My guy, you are insane if you think you're short in Activision. All the news catalyst is around, hey, we are going to sell every share we have to Microsoft for 95 bucks. And you want to short it at 92.50. That doesn't make much sense to me. But I'll leave that up to you if you want to short it. And PWM, that 26.50 would be $1 in the money that we got alerted for. Looking at Zim, we took a 13 break on Zim today, and we have one print up at 50s. We got 13.50 on the dot, and we were looking for a further breakout. While I was sort of building this flat top, we said, hey, this is reasonable for it to come back in the 13.25s. No reason. Honestly, if this candle closes above 1307, if it closes even like 1310, I would say this is a reasonable candle for continuation. And if it pulled back into the 1275 gap, that looks pretty good as well. So we are playing this like a swing trade. If we can get this up to the gap, which just barely didn't fill, just barely. So 1370 is the next area that we're looking for, and also 1450, and of course hold a piece for the move, 1750. So that's what we're looking for on Zim. Yeah, a lot of extraordinary moves, and I would say HPQ is one that we've been playing with, and we could go take some profit, but with this candle, I'm thinking 34.50s. We can start taking profits. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to break this flat top, but look at that trend line. Just a beautiful looking trend line. HPQ returning a lot of value to shareholders. You got a reasonable dividend around 3.5%, or yeah, 3%, give or take, and they are buying back shares hand over fist. So we love companies that are returning value to shareholders, and this trend line, when we start seeing trend lines on these companies, that is what we like to see. Now getting a true flat top break. Let's see if we can run this up into the mid 30s. Oil, notable move, approaching the 75, which we've talked about as a breakout, but nice bull flag continuation, broke through the downtrend. Let's see what's not moving on the day. Is there anything not moving today? Soundhound. Looks like a bear flag. And what makes it a bear flag is these three candle moves. This is a bear setup in itself. Gaps down, doesn't have the strength to retrace to that gap, and leaves a red engulfing candle. So you're looking to have people go short in the middle of this move. 1, 2, 3, increasing red volume, decreasing green volume to the upside, and now getting ready to take this out. We're going to be interested in playing around with Soundhound again around this 3. We think this is a legitimate trend line, and we also think it has some support that it would give out around this 325. So how far are the short's going to take this? One second, I gotta clear my throat. I need to go get a water. And we're back. Looking at some other red moves. Rivian catching a little bit of indecision candle. Doesn't look that bad, honestly. ABEV kind of respecting this sort of channel. Whether this is set perfect or not, I would say it's more so building a flat top around this area. So could we see some rejection? Could we see this be a pullback into like 250s again, where I'm a buyer, no questions asked? Any of these red moves stick out? DAL red, not surprised. We're still holding the piece. We just got done taking some off 48.50 4 days ago, and we said, hey, we think we can get 50s. Well, it's just kind of trading sideways, setting up. End phase, we really like the setup on end phase. We've tried these 160s a couple times. We just missed out on the 158.75 gap, and we were on the bid here at 62s, and it never came on in. I think it was 62.70 actually. It never dropped far enough, but we're playing this sort of trend line. If we go to a 15-minute chart, You can see we're looking at this as sort of a trend line. It just never came on in. Just never came on in. It got really close, just never did. But now breaking over sort of a shorter term neckline. I would say this is your shorter term neckline. When you see the bigger picture, you're like, oh, I see why you're playing this. Yeah, this trend line is pretty damn good, and the growth on this company, compounding. We're expected, 200 million more in revenue. We're expecting another 30 cents a share in EPS. So pretty good growth compounding if it's able to do that. And when we're setting a higher low off of this trend line channel, top end of the channel from current price is still 123%. Looks pretty good. You said you picked up some INDO for the oil. I could see it. Personally, I'm sticking with the quality oil names, ones that are bringing in, that are I can at least see some more financials on. One that I'm expecting to be more long-term oil. And I would say banks also look reasonable. This is a bear setup, gaps down, leaves a red engulfing off that gap down, leaves that gap there. But bank earnings next week. So that's kind of why we're playing KRE in the first place. And KRE up to 42.34, so building this position quite well, leaving a nice green engulfing candle through that. It got as low as 42.08. We were on the ask or the bid at 42s. So it looks like we're not going to get those 42s just yet, but that doesn't mean we won't get it later. ELOX still holding. Got as low as 25s. And you can see now that we're in this candle, 13 minutes left. Looking for a break of this sort of channel. I wouldn't say this is a perfectly set channel. BAC has horrible news going on. Laugh out loud. Beautiful. Let it say that they're going bankrupt for all I care. If we can get BAC down in mid 25s, we're all for it. They're sitting on liquid assets like many banks. And another thing they're doing is they're buying back shares and increasing their dividend and have a reasonable payout ratio. Expected 84 cents on this next earnings report with continued revenue growth. Yeah, there's going to be some kinks that banks need to work out, but in terms of building a long-term position, I'm okay. Uncle Warren said it himself. If you're not willing to go negative 50% on a position you feel you're getting fair value for, then he doesn't even like it as a long-term investment. Like that's the part of long-term investing. Into these mid-20s, we're looking at 15%. So I'm looking at 15% downside risk to where I really want to start building the position out. Yeah, I'm really not worried about VAC in the slightest. And Bank of Nova Scotia. Whoops. This is the Canadian. Kind of the same story here. We're playing this trend line, just holding. If it wants to break down to these mid to low 40s, that's what we're looking for. And we're okay. We think we have a nice longer term trend line down here near these 40 flats. So if I'm looking at down the 40 flat, I'm looking at 15% downside risk. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to be okay with that. And the reason being is because we have some rippers in our portfolio that are covering for the time being. Well, in a couple months, maybe those positions aren't covering for my banks, and the banks are then catching a bid. So have a good one. I'm off. Thanks for stopping in, Drift. Always appreciate the company, and we'll see you on the next one, hopefully. So you have a good day, Drift. Their bonds are like bricks in their pockets. See you later. Yeah, I mean, I don't really let the news get to me. I look at the financials. I say reasonable financials, and I think it's a reasonable level to build a long-term position. By no means is it like a massive position. We can actually go look. It is 0.93% of the portfolio. So That's why we own everything. That's why we have positions in VT, VXUS. We own over 15,000 different holdings between the two. And we're going to be holding those for the rest of our life because we own everything. We want everything because 30, 40 years from now, the world's economy is going to be a better place, number one. And number two, we think the economy is going to be better 30, 40 years from now. So that's the same thing that I just said. I'm a little worked up right now. Really just happy today with, I mean, all we've done today is ring the register. And it looks like ELOX potentially going to give this break of tens. This is where we have a trim stop in, looking for some continuation to the downside. We will be interested in reloads. Anything that we've trimmed above 750, we're looking to reload off of 750 and play the level down to 725. If we end up getting stopped out, this position is not going to go red on us. So Activision leaving a wick top up towards that 93, so no fill there. Etsy is the one that is a killer for me. Right off that gap fill, we were all over it. We were calling it out on the way down. It put the goddamn triple bottom off of the gap, and now a news catalyst, something about an upgrade, I think. Yeah. Yeah. What a perfect time for an upgrade right after the gap fill and a nice green candle move through the gap close. Now let's drop the news and let's get bullish. I didn't need to see the news to see that, hey, this is potential that we can get something here. Didn't need to see it. That's just like Invax. That's just like Invax yesterday. I didn't need to see this. I seen, hey, we're coming in on that third point of contact right here. We tried it. We tried it on this day. And we actually got stopped out while we were at work. Last fucking candle of the day. Sorry for my language. And then the gap up. I didn't need no news to see that, hey, this is a reasonable setup, especially if it takes out 8. And look at what we're doing here. So I'll let the news go on with BAC. So be it. I think I'm getting fair value for my dollar. AFRM testing back up to this 1650. Let's see if we can get this up to the bodies of these candles up near 1670. ELOX getting very close to stopping us out of some shares there. Not quite though. Holding strong for now, but really setting up this flat bottom break. Boom, boom, boom. 3 wicks right there. Now if it gets underneath that price, I'm expecting stops in around this area. CRBU continuing the green move to the upside. I looked at the financials. Their assets are in their financials. Rooster, please look at PRFX, up 400%. Yeah, I mean this is just one where I wish I had the entry. But I'm not going to trade it up here 400%. That's just, I'll trade it in 3 or 4 days when it's down here at 11, or in a couple days maybe it's up at 40s and it pulls back in, retraces down to this 20s. I'll play the it's on the watch now, so I mean once I get it on the watch and I can watch it, I feel pretty confident that I can find areas that I want to buy it at. But a classic nice flat top break and continuation move for sure. Let's see what else. Let's go take a look back at plug and PWM still sitting around this 26 in these 26s. I think it's reasonable and nice volume increase even though it leaves that large wick. We had a couple wicks of buying. Let's just go ahead and try it. We're going to try this trend line and give it a little bit. We're going to try this PWM and see if we can get any movement to the upside. Let's just start small with a nice market order in and see where it goes from here. We can go on the bids at 50 if we want to. So let's just go ahead and do that here at 50s. We'll go a little bit off of 65 actually. So we'll go with 26.65. And if that fills, we can try it 26.50. I don't like the double top if I'm looking at it as a retracement. We never put a candle above, we never close a candle above that 702, so I do have to understand that if this is the start of a wave structure, here's your retracement, here's your crack of the trend line. Does this support hold? Maybe it does, maybe it catches a bid off of that, but if that support cracks and we retest down to 22s, that is where I'd look for a retest to this support that's holding right there, and a follow through back down to some sort of support level. So that is not the setup that I want to see take place, but I have to understand that anytime we see rejection from that 702 or those retracements, it's got to be in the back of our head. That's a possibility. But I like the setup. Let's see if we can get 60s to fill, or 65s to fill, and go from there. And maybe we're just feeling good today and we're willing to take this chance on this. But we like this support level down here in these 26s. We think that it can catch a bid, so let's see if it can. See if 65s can fill. A firm rejecting 50s for the time being. We might have got 65s filled there. No, we did not get 65s filled there. My fill came in at 85s, so the market order that we came in, you know, we just wanted the market in for some shares, get the position started. And now let's see if we can get this 65 fill, and let's just go on the ask right away at 50s. I said I was going to go on 50s. We're going in front of the 50s. Roadblocks, rejection of 45. So this is why I was saying, hey, my trend line might not be set properly. Let's take a piece off here at this 45 flat level and see what happens. PWM, we got to go back and take a look at that. So reclaim those 27s. This is what we're looking for. Couple of wicks of buying. 3 minutes left in this candle. Light volume. I'd say more buying than selling as well taking place. So holding that level properly. Now let's see if we can just hold 27s. If this candle can actually turn green, we're all for it. The only thing that we have left is, you know, for the candle to turn green, and then we have the low or the open of the previous candle. So that's at 27.80. Giving up 27s temporarily. We knew this was going to be a battle. This is only candle number 2. Candle number 3 comes in. Let's see if it can attempt to hold. So this is the sort of trend line that we're playing right there. Just leaving it a little room so I can see. That was the only take there. And ELOX, we'll see. And it looks like we did get stopped out of some shares. But that's why I execute stop trims. You know, now if it were to come down to 750, even though it's up here and you're like, dang, why did I stop out at some 810s? When you're in at 480s, you really don't give a crap. But a nice wick into 8, I would say. Buying, holding it up above this 840 level. So let's see if this can catch a bid, and let's see if we can get some fills at the 60 and 80s up there. So PWM, let's look back over there. And the wick low gets down to 68, so still no fill. Oh, never mind, the wick low gets down to 23s. Let's see if we got that fill off 65s. No fills yet. This 68 has been a strange level. It's been sitting at this 68 many times. Is there any size on that? There's size on 68s for some reason. And a nice red engulfing candle to the downside. So let's get another add on this, and let's respect the position right here at these 26s, and we'll give it, you know, 50 cents or so. Stop loss, you know, maybe 25, and we'll see if this can hang. So let's see where that fill came in. We were pretty Johnny on the spot for it. And we got 18s. So 26 18s. Minute left on this candle. Let's see if it can leave a wick. And if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. We also have to double check in on what our size is. I don't recall just yet. Okay, so that's average. Average size, PWM, now up to these 63, so leaving a nice wick of buying right there. Good buying pressure off of these highs. That's what we wanted to see. Bid stacked at 40, so let's see if this can even retrace up in the 27s where we're going to start, just trimming the levels. So we're on candle number 3 now. We got to open. We got a couple wicks. I'm not a fan of the size of the red candles. So let's go ahead and we can run a stop down here at, 2560s, which is kind of inside this trend line. We could even try and add a little more to it if we wanted to, but let's just keep an eye on it. We don't want it to just blast through red engulfing down and we get back some of our wins on the day. But if it holds above these 2640s, 2650s, we think that we can get some further movement to the upside. This trend line's been legit. Let's give it a chance, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Twenty-five 25s coming on in. No, it'll be at 5 by tomorrow. Which one are you referring to? I bet I had my other sheet up, or my other browser up. I wasn't able to look at the chat. So wicking into this level, if we think that if it can start building, we can get out at 28. And if we can start ringing this to the upside, we are going to take that opportunity. So now candle now turning green. This is what we want to see. 13 minutes left on the candle. So not out of the woods yet, but I would say up to anything in the 27s we can start taking. Candle's turning red, a little aggressive, but let's see if buyers can continue holding it up around this trend line. If we just mark the body of this is 2620. This is what we want to see hold. So continuing to leave that wick for now. But comparing this volume right here, when it starts to give a curl, if it does, we want to see the volume start picking up with it. Only one lot on 73s and a few stepping in front. We got 70, 71s. And now candle slightly turned green for the time being, but very large spread so far. Got about a 30-cent spread, 40-cent spread here. So really low volume. Which I can see why, because of this wick. This wick is really scary. And here we're 22 lots on 12. So are these buyers going to come in off this previous high, which is also sort of a trend line? Holding for now. Candle is now turned green. Punched right back down. Continuing to leave that wick right in these low 26s. It took out 22 lots off 50s there, and now we have 6 lots on 70s, only 1 on the tape at 60 or at 40s. So still very spready, 30-cent spread. But if somebody was taking the breakout, this volume increase right here was the breakout of this 26. So if it holds this level, I'd say probably under 26 is a reasonable out. Which we're going to run a mental stop and just kind of give this trend line. Now the candle has turned green. 5 lots on 70. There was 30 not too long ago. Still about a 30-cent spread. CRBU up to 750. Nice move on the name. So buyers continuing to hold these 26s. It's going to take this candle and maybe another candle to really start showing it. But if we can get up in these 27s, that's what we're looking. That is what we're looking for. PWM down the 5, is that what you're saying? 525? You know, maybe. Maybe. But profitable IPO. High margin IPO. Pretty solid trend line that it's been trying to hold. If it can give the move to the top end, that channel looks pretty legit. Only a small wick of buying here at these low 26s, but again, you can see the decreased volume off of this volume increase. It does leave a large wick, yes, I understand. But, oh, you're talking about PRFX? Down to 5 tomorrow? I don't know, that flat top right there, around 750 to 8 is going to be really good support in my opinion. I would be interested. If it pulled back down to 750 to 8 tomorrow, I'm probably going to be in it. ELOX, catching a bid back up and breaking that channel. So let's see if we can ring the register on that name. We will keep an eye on it. PWM, we'll look back. Candle is now turned green. So showing us that wick on this third candle. And still really light volume. And if that volume can be green, we think that we can get some further upside on the name. Still 7 minutes left in this candle. This could easily flush through 25s, trigger some stops. Not saying it is a golden setup. This wick leaving that body candle right there at that 702, which is why we're going to want to respect this up to 27s, all the ways up into 28s, because the 702 is right around 2850. So if it double tops into that 702 and then cracks a trend line, but you can see the catalyst, even of this, just the last 20 candles or so, you see the catalyst of the channel right there. So this is where that double top potentially comes in. We wick and we can't hold the trend line eventually. So giving it this trend line, you know, is it going to pay off? Maybe. Maybe it doesn't. ZIM back up to that 1350. And these high margin companies, we're just looking at Bumble down here near a 15 level, talking about a 15 flat entry. Just didn't quite give it to us. Bids actually stacked off 50s, not as spready, but we do have some stacked bids off 50s. Let's see if that can be the start of something bigger. Looking over ELOX, rejecting that 9. We're okay with what we've done. We got stopped out a few at 60s, we got stopped out a few at 40s, we got stopped out a few at 10s. So those stops maybe not the greatest stops, but if it comes back in the 750, I'll be saying, yeah, I'm glad I stopped those out where I did, and we can reload and try and play it from there. We are going to try and hold a piece of that into the close. BDRX just popped up, man. What is going on today? It's getting halted. It's a day to be long, that's for sure. That is for sure. The ticker is BDRX. Halted up. Yeah, extraordinary moves today. Continuation up to through 8. Looking back at PWM, candle is starting to turn green. Who knows? Maybe PWM wants to halt up today, Hal. Up at 2680, so right around this first entry that we had. Starting to go green, and now we are completely green on the entire position. Let's see if we can get a 27 break here, and let's get ready to take a piece off. We're going to start with about, what is that, 7% of the position. And one lot at 27s. Let's take that out. And right up to 26s or 60s. Let's take a piece off and ring the register. So let's start ringing the register all the ways to the upside. If it lets us. Let's see where that fill came. That fill came in at 27.10, so really not the greatest fill. Let's go put some limit orders. 27.48. Let's go 27.25. And those will be the 3 trims that we go with. And one of them should have filled, and the other one just filled as well. Okay, so we got 3 trims to the name, with our best trim at 27.48. And I'm loving this candle that's coming in right here. Let's go on the ask. We're right underneath of this. So 27.80, we'll go 27.75. We're gonna lower the amount that we're trimming down. 27.80. No, we'll go 27.70. 27.70, that then gives it a decent cushion for the bottom of this candle, and we can go off of 28s. 28s and 28.15s are the next 2 areas that we're going to be looking for. There's 2760. Can we get the 70 fill? Can we get a 70 fill? Let's just go right on the tape at 2795. $27.95 and $28.15. If 28.15 fills, we're looking for a breakout. Let's see what we got filled here. Oh, we did get 27.70, so ring the register on 27.70s right there. Just respecting the body low of that candle and also the middle of the red candle move right there. So now if we come back into 26.50s, we feel good reloading the position. We got 27.10s, 27.25s, 27.48s, and 27.70s filled. We're on the ask at 27.95 and 28.15. Already from that 22 fill, looking at 5.5%, ringing the register. There's 27.77. Just a itty bitty more push right there. Just barely. So there is a little bit of an iceberg there at those 27.80s. If we can get through that, looks good for pushing the 28s. If it gets rejected, we pull back into the 26s, 26.50, we're looking like we're going to continue respecting that level. And why not? Like Hal said, everything's ripping today. And ELOX kind of giving that false break. How do we act here at these 780s? We're okay holding the piece. But let's put an alert at that level. I'm surprised PWM doesn't even make that board. 9%? Okay, it is right there. Okay. So yeah, just bounce around a little bit. Affirm, we're waiting for a push up to these lows. Wick, wick, wick. So the 1660 to 70 is what we're looking for. We also have ZIM on board. Took a 13 break. Hold, hold, hold. We're looking for an eventual break of this 1350. What else we got? We have Roblox. Respected 45s. Came back in. If this wants to pull back into 43s, which is the flat top or even lower, we're going to reload the position. We got the Activision, which we've been long-term holders of Activision. Getting some news catalysts. We're going to print 95s on that. Mark my words. Not financial advice. FVRR, we played the bottom end of this wedge. Wick, 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 wick. We have an alert at this 27.70, so if we get there, we're gonna go watch it for an eventual test of this 28. I mean, we have all kinds of tickers, guys. Everything's pumping to the upside. Have an extraordinary day. PWM up to 2776 right here. Are we going to get this eventual push through 80s? And there's the push through 80s. 2786. Can we get the 2795 fill? Let's find out. Just a little bit higher. Tap 90s. Rejected 90s and right through. We got two fills. We got 2815, which is what we were saying we're expecting these highs. So both of those filled. Now let's see if we can get a breakout. Where, we're looking for 29s. Let's see if we can get 29s. And if not, but I think this is gonna call it for the live stream. I mean, we were able to take a live trade midday. We got the setup that we liked. It passed the rules. We got the increasing volume, decreasing to the downside, pulling into a level. This is what we like to do. This is what we do, guys. It doesn't matter what it's trading. If more people wanted to buy it right here, then sell it. We're looking for price to move up. And that's what we got. So it took a nice winning trade at the end of the day. That top print right there from our 22 entry was a quick 7.5%. Just like that. Just like that. ELOX, let's not forget we just got done hitting 480 to a top print of 48s, 95%. AFRM ripped. Roblox ripped. Plug ripped. ZIM ripped. Everything ripped. FVR ripped. 3M ripped. PayPal ripped. Siri ripped. Path ripped. But that is going to call it for the stream today, guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.